Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Nigamakalpataro galitam palam sukamukadam rita drava samyutam pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam mohuraho rasika bhuvi bhavukaha narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayat nashtaprayashva bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati utama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th Canto, Chapter 10, Text 23. Pitriyam cha stanam atishta yatoktam brahmavadibihi mai avesha manas tata kuru karmani matparaha pitriyam cha stanam atishta yatoktam brahmavadibihi mai avesha manastata Kuru karmani matparaha Pitriyam cha stanam artishta Yatoktam brahmavadibihi Mai avesha manastata Kuru karmani matparaha Pitriyam cha stanam atishta Yatoktam brahmavadibihi Mayavesha manastata Guru karmani matparaha Pitriyam cha stanam atishta Yatoktam brahmavadibihi Mayavesha manastata Guru karmani matparaha Pitriyam cha stanam atishta Yatoktam brahmavadibihi Mayavesha manastata Guru karmani matparaha. Mataji. Pitriyam cha stanam atishta Yatoktam brahmavadibihi Mayavesha manastata Guru karmani matparaha Pitriyam cha stanam atishta Yatoktam brahmavadibihi Mayavesha manastata Guru karmani matparaha Pitriyam cha stanam atishta Yatoktam brahmavadibihi Mayavesha manastata Guru karmani matparaha Pitriyam paternal Cha also Stanam place throne Atishta sit upon Yata uktam as described Brahmavadibihi by the followers of Vedic civilization. Mai, unto me. Avesha, being fully absorbed. Manaha, the mind. Tata, my dear boy. Kuru, just execute. Karmani, the regulative duties. Matparaha, just for the sake of my work. Translation. After performing the ritualistic ceremonies, take charge of your father's kingdom. Sit upon the throne and do not be disturbed by materialistic activities. Please keep your mind fixed upon me without transgressing the injunctions of the Vedas. As a matter of formality, you may perform your particular duties. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. When one becomes a devotee, he no longer has any duty to the Vedic regulative principle. One has many duties to perform, but if one becomes fully devoted to the Lord, he no longer has any such obligations, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.41. Devarshi bhutaptan rinam pitrinam nakin karonayam rini charajan sarvatmanam ya sharanam sharanyam gato mukundam parihritya kartam. One who has fully surrendered to the lotus feet of the Lord is no longer a debtor to his forefathers, the great sages, human society, the common man, or any living entity. The Supreme Personality of Godhead nonetheless advised Prahlad Maharaj to follow the regulative principle, for since he was going to be the king, others would follow his example. Thus Lord Nrsingadev advised Prahlad Maharaj to engage in his political duties so that people would become the Lord's devotees. Yadyada charati shreshtas tatta deve taro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokastad anuvartate. Whatever action a great man performs, common men follow, and whatever standards he sets by exemplary acts, the whole world pursues. Bhagavad-Gita 3.21. One should not be attached to any materialistic activities, but a devotee may perform such activities as an example to show the common man that one should not deviate from the Vedic injunctions. Hare Krishna. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangrong Langhaite Girim Yat Kripatamaham Bande Sri Gurum Dinatarinam. Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadrumadha Srimad Ratnagara Simha Sanishto Srimad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Prishtalibi Savyamano Smarami Sri Krishnam Radhikan Cheva Lalitancha Vishakikam Shakibir Anvitam Nityam Pranamami Muhur Muhuhu Om Hrim Shong Ugrang Virang Mahavishnum Jwalantam Savato Mukam Shingham Bisanam Badram Richum Namamiyaham. Hare Krishna. After performing the ritualistic ceremonies, take charge of your father's kingdom, sit upon the throne, and do not be disturbed by materialistic activities. Please keep your mind fixed upon me without transgressing the injunctions of the Vedas. As a matter of formality, you may perform your particular duties. So, Nrsingadev has advised Prahlad Maharaj to carry out his duties with respect to his late father, Hiranyakashipu. Although Hiranyakashipu was a demon, as Maharaj pointed out yesterday, committed unlimited sinful activities. Nevertheless, Prahlad Maharaj happened to be his son, and in the Vedic culture, there is the duty of the son to perform certain ceremonies for his parents and ancestors who have passed away. As quoted in this verse, which Devashi Bhutapta Nrinam Pitrinam, for one who has completely surrendered at the lotus feet of Krishna, and this particularly refers to those in sannyas ashram, the renounced order of life. There is no obligation to perform any more Vedic ritualistic ceremonies like samskaras, including the samskara which is known as antyesti, or the cremation ceremony, and the shraddha kriya. This is not done generally for a sannyasi. Sannyasi is put into samadhi. However, for those who are in the other ashrams, particularly the grihastha ashram, such ceremonies are obligatory. They should be performed, and even we can see Srila Prabhupada performed Shraddha Kriya for his father, Gaur Mohan Dey, by inviting devotees, Brahmanas, Vaishnavas, and giving prasad and some charity. We see also Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, also went to Gaya to perform Shraddha Kriya for his late father, Sri Jagannath Misra. We also see that Lord Krishna performed the ceremony in Kurukshetra for all of the relatives who happened to be killed in the Battle of Kurukshetra. Similarly, Lord Rama also performed this ceremony for his late father, King Dasarath. And there's an interesting story in Garuda Purana in this connection. Actually, Dasarath passed away in Ayodhya out of deep separation from Lord Rama. He couldn't live without Rama. So his brothers Bharat and Shatrugna came to the forest and told him that father has passed away. So now you can come back and you can be the king in Ayodhya. And Rama said, well, I promised. A promise is a promise. I cannot break my promise, even though our father is passed away and gone back to Vaikuntha. I cannot. So they consulted, because he is the eldest son, he has the adhikara, the right to perform the Shraddha Kriya. So they consulted the Brahmanas, and the Brahmanas said, well, Shraddha Kriya can be performed anywhere, not necessary to go back to Ayodhya. Here in the forest we can also do. So they called some sages who were living in the forest and collected some simple foodstuff like bananas and coconuts, and I think also maybe sweet potatoes. Such things are found in the forest, but there are no supermarkets in the forest. Yeah, so they called the sages, and they served prasad to the sages. At that time, generally speaking, when there's a matter of serving food, usually the ladies will do this. The Matajis will serve to the guest. So Rama called Sita Devi to serve the sages, the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas who were there, and Sita was not to be found, disappeared. They looked around, they called for her, she wasn't to be found. So then Lord Rama himself and Lakshman personally served this simple prasad to the Brahmanas and sages who were there, and after that gave some charity also. Yeah. So these two things are mandatory. Without prasad and without some charity, the ceremony is considered incomplete according to Bhagavad-Gita. So anyways, the sages took permission and then went back to the forest. So then Sita appeared, and Lord Rama said, I was looking for you. You were supposed to serve these sages and Brahmanas. What happened? So she said, I saw your father sitting there, your grandfather, your great-grandfather, all of your ancestors sitting there, and I was ashamed that all we can offer them is some bananas and coconuts and sweet potatoes. We should be offering them rice and dal and puris and very nice Raj Bhoga, very nice prasad. All we can offer them is a few bananas and coconuts. So I could not come before them. So this story, in fact, explains what happens in such ceremonies, is that the ancestors come into the bodies of the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas and accept the prasad through them. So we cannot see this, but Sita Devi is the consort of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She could see this. So that's the reason why when you do the Shraddha Kriya, you invite some Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, some devotees, and you feed them prasad, and it is accepted by your parents or grandparents or ancestors through the bodies of those Brahmanas and Vaishnavas, but you cannot see. But according to the authority of the Garuda Purana, which is explained by Lord Vishnu to Garuda, this is what happens. Yeah. So anyway, coming back to this topic of the verse, Prahlad Maharaj is instructed to perform this ceremony, and then after that he is instructed to take charge of the kingdom of his father. Hiranyakashipu is, after all, the king of the Asuras. Pretty Hare Krishna. King of the Asuras. Quite a big job, quite a big kingdom. And Prahlad Maharaj was his son, so naturally the kingdom will go to the son of the king. He'll become the next king. So Nrsingadev said, you take your father's kingdom, you sit on the throne. Throne is elevated seat. After all, the king is supposed to be the most elevated citizen of the kingdom. So he sits on an exalted seat, and we also have this tradition, Vaishnavas, those who are to speak on the Shastras are given an asan, a seat, out of respect to them personally, but also to the Shastras upon which they speak. And one should be very careful, should be very much qualified. And people who are not at all qualified should not generally be given some exalted seat. So then he says, he gives some practical instruction, and do not be disturbed by materialistic activities. This is a very difficult thing to be followed by those who are kings and leaders. I mean, politicians, yeah, kings, politicians, generally get very much disturbed by materialistic activities. Politics, there's a lot of instructions on politics and practical activities of leaders and kings in the Vedic literature. We find some general instructions in Bhagavad-Gita. The qualities of a Kshatriya are given. Yeah, Sauryam Teju Driti Daksham Yude Chapyapalayanam Dhanamishvara Bhavascha Kshatriyam Karmas Svabhavajam. And general instructions about performing duties, which I'll talk about a bit later on. And more specific instructions can be found in Mahabharata, in the Shanti Parva and Anushasana Parva. While Bhishmadev was lying on the bed of arrows, and the Pandavas came, and also many great sages and even the demigods also, they were listening. And Bhishmadev gave very general and specific instructions about the duties of kings and leaders. And for those who are having these positions, worth going through. Very, very elaborate and explicit instructions about how a leader or king should act. And we also know that from the Bhagavad-Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna that Imam Raja Sayo Viduhu. Yeah, the Bhagavad-Gita was formally followed, and there was even a Guru Parampara among the kings. That was the book they would be holding. This would be their guide, Bhagavad-Gita. Mandatory to be studied and followed by anyone who considers themselves to be a king or a leader. Even a small leader or a medium-sized leader or a big leader should study Bhagavad-Gita. Mandatory. So otherwise the leader will become confused by materialistic activities. And we see in the modern world, if you look in the newspaper, every day you can read about the materialistic activities of the world leaders. They're just, many of them are completely bewildered, in fact. Yeah, every day changing the program, every day doing something else. And I also had ample opportunity because I was working in the government for 15 years and until a few weeks ago. So I saw so many things I won't tell you now. But anyways, because the nature, it is mostly the mode of passion, Raja Guna. The leaders, they're all in the mode of passion. They want this, they want that, and of course a lot of corruption also goes on, practically all over the world. Leaders and the officials are just how to take money like this. And then they get caught and put in prison, then they come out again. Like this it goes on. So Nrsingadev is warning Prahlad Maharaj, do not become bewildered by materialistic activities. Even though you are the leader, it doesn't mean to say that you can do anything and everything. So how to achieve this? And then Nrsingadev has given the advice that always follow the Vedic injunctions. Always follow the advice of the learned Vaishnavas and Brahmanas. So if we read in the Vedic Shastra, the king would appoint. You have in Hindi also this word mantri, pradhan mantri. You have Indonesian also we have the same word mantri. The same thing. So a mantri is a person who is expert in mantras. So the king would surround himself by those who were learned in mantras, mainly learned in the Shastras. And every moment the king would take advice from these Brahmanas, Vaishnavas and sages in his day-to-day activities. He would ask this sage, what do you think about this? Then he would ask another sage, these people were on hand. They weren't given salaries either. They would be given charity, but it wasn't that they were on a big salary. So the king could have the best advice from those persons who were learned in the Shastras and who were not personally having a vested interest in the financial dealings and other political things which were going on. They were just living very simply. Probably you also heard Chanakya Pandit. Yeah, he was, you can say, the prime minister that time. Under Chandragupta Maurya, he was the prime minister of India. It's a very big position. But he was just living very simply in a small hut and so on. But the king was getting this first-class advice from this learned Chanakya. You can read some of it in the books which he wrote, like Chanakya Niti Shastra and so on. So this was the system. If you read in Mahabharata, that the Pandavas also were constantly being accompanied by brahmanas and sages. Every morning they would do fire yagya. They would always be hearing from the Shastras. They were practically themselves on the level of sages. The difference was the brahmanas were not allowed to be involved, not in hands-on management. They would just be living simply and detached. Whereas the king himself was directly hands-on management. He was managing so many things with his ministers and with his different generals and so on. He was managing the state. So this is the clue. And Srila Prabhupada also wanted that the leaders of the world should study his books, especially Bhagavad-Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. On some occasions, Srila Prabhupada met some leaders of countries and very, very prominent people, big leaders, and he would preach to them that you should follow this Bhagavad-Gita. If we want to see improvement in the situation of the world, then it will have to happen. It will not happen simply by some kind of mental speculation, which we are seeing now. There were a few recent world leaders who actually studied Bhagavad-Gita. One who, of course, comes to mind is Gandhi. Yeah. Then also Sukarno, the first president of Indonesia, who was a Muslim, but he studied Bhagavad-Gita and he used to quote in his speeches. Then another one is Nelson Mandela, who you can say the father of modern South Africa. While he was in prison, he studied, not only studied, memorized the Bhagavad-Gita. Memorized the Bhagavad-Gita. And there are others, great philosophers and leaders and so on. So this more should be, they should do like this, instead of speculating. Then the next advice, he's saying as a matter of formality, you can carry out your duties. What does this mean? It means, we all know, the main duty is to be Krishna conscious. Whatever we have to do from day to day to maintain our body, to maintain our family members, if we happen to be in some position, we have to carry out our duties. But that is not the main duty for any of us. The main duty is to be Krishna conscious. So he's advising him, don't forget that. You do your duty as a king, as a formality. But your main duty is to remember me. So these are actually very good practical advices which have been given to Prahlad Maharaj. And the same kind of advices are given by Lord Krishna to Arjuna in the Bhagavad-Gita. Even some of the same words we find. Mai Avesha, we find this in Bhagavad-Gita. Mat Paraha, acting in the interest of Krishna. These words are also come in Bhagavad-Gita. Krishna tells Arjuna, Kamani evadikaraste ma paleshu kadachana ma karma palahi turbud mate sangosva karmani. You have the right to perform your duties, But don't be attached to the result. Yeah? Don't consider yourself to be the cause of the result of your activities, and do not become habituated to not doing your duties. This is Krishna's advice. Another verse which also comes to mind, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mam anusmara yudhyacha mai arpita mano buddhir mam evaishyasya samshaya. Krishna tells Arjuna, therefore, at every moment, at all times, remember me, mam anusmara yudhyacha, and carry out your duty, which means, in case of Arjuna, fighting. Our duty may not be fighting, but what our duty may be, we'll carry that one out, but while thinking of Krishna. Mai arpita mano buddhir, with your mind and intelligence fixed upon me, mam evaishyasya samshaya, surely you will come to me. So Arjuna was thinking, let me retire from material activities, let me become a sannyasi, perhaps go to Vrindavan or some other holy place, or the Himalayas, and sit there praying, chanting mantras, accepting chapatis like this. This was Arjuna's idea. But Krishna did not agree with that. Because Arjuna was a Kshatriya, he was a king, he was in the middle of the battlefield. So Krishna did not advise Arjuna to take sannyas and give up and go off and leave everything. No, he said, you remember me, you carry out your duty of fighting, but you always remember me, always think of me. Yes. So this verse is very good and very instructive, not just to Prahlad Maharaj, but also for all of us, and also especially for the leaders of the world. They should study these kinds of advices, and then only then will they be able to do something for the benefit of humanity. Hare Krishna. So I'm going to stop a little bit early because I've been asked to speak something about Advaita Acharya. Today happens to be his appearance day. But before I do that, any questions specifically about this verse? Yes, Prabhu.
So, why is he asked now to do the kingly duties?
For example, why is he not invited to go back home, the spiritual world immediately? Why is he not doing this heavy and sometimes unpleasant task, being the king of the demons? Or of the universe, or however much he was ruling, and he's told to do this type of activity.
Okay, thank you. Well, Maharaj also explained yesterday in his Bhagavatam class, and it's also here at the end of the purport. And Lord Nrsingadev had some plan, and he wanted Prahlad Maharaj to be the king and to act in an exemplary way, so that people, even including the Asuras, would be inspired to become devotees. This was Lord Nrsingadev's plan. So if someone is in a leadership position, then they can influence people. People tend, and Prabhupada has even quoted this verse. He's quoted this yad yad acharati verse, that whatever action are performed by a great man, common men will follow in their footsteps. Yeah. So Lord Nrsingadev's plan was that Prahlad Maharaj, by being the king, he would give his association to the Asuras, and some of them may be inspired to become devotees. I mean, let us honestly admit, Prabhu, we are also former Asuras, isn't it? We don't have anything to be proud of. Simply by the association and by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we are able to be in this Krishna consciousness movement. Yeah, it's only by, let us not be an illusion. Let us not think that we are really great personalities somehow descended from the spiritual world and in some place. Actually, it's only Prabhupada's mercy. And recently I read a story which is being related by some devotees and put up on the internet. When Srila Prabhupada was about to go to the West, and he was quite ill, but he wanted to go, and one very, very prominent South Indian Sri Vaishnava Brahmana came to see Prabhupada. He said, he flew up from Hyderabad, Sampat Kumar Bhattacharya, who was the one who did the ceremony when they opened Hyderabad temple. And he said, I want to see, personally, Srila Prabhupada. So he was allowed to meet with Prabhupada, and there were just one or two devotees who witnessed this. And he said, I have to tell you that in the Pancharatra it says that if you install a deity of someone who is still alive, then that person will accept sinful reactions from the persons who worship that deity. It says in the Pancharatra. You understand? Because the deities of Srila Prabhupada and also Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur were installed while Srila Prabhupada was still alive. And Srila Prabhupada said to the Sampat Kumar Bhattacharya, yes, I know that. And I'm going to stay there for the next 10,000 years and install and absorb the sinful reaction of everybody and all the people in Kali Yuga, so they can chant Hare Krishna.
Amazing.
So then Sampat Kumar Bhattacharya said, please forgive me, I'm just a priest. He understood that Prabhupada was on such a level. He would take all our sins just so we can chant Hare Krishna. Yeah. Anyways, I'm coming back on this verse. It was Lord Nrsingadev's plan that Prahlad Maharaj would be the king, and this way some association would be given to the asuras, who are generally not interested in Krishna consciousness, but is Kali Yuga, and is special by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There's no killing of the asuras, but the mentality of the asura has to be killed. They have to be changed into devotees. Now we find devotees practically every country in the world. Every single country in the world you can see devotees practicing. Thousands and thousands of devotees. This is the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Srila Prabhupada. Yeah. Yes, Prabhu.
May I ask a follow-up question?
Huh.
Oftentimes devotees think that, okay, as long as they have to go to the office, do business, take care of family, they cannot do pure devotional service.
Oh.
So, okay, Prahlad Maharaj knew this is Nrsimhadev's plan, and Nrsimhadev told him, you do this service. So nowadays, how can a devotee who does some work outside do that as devotional service? Can he do this as devotional service, do you think?
Yeah. Well, it's not easy, I can tell you, from my personal experience working in the government, going off early in the morning, coming back late at night. But, well, I mean, you have to make a balance between your material duties and your Krishna conscious activities. At least morning and evening you should do devotional activities. Do some puja, chant the japa, read the shastras, a little at least, and then in the evening again. Otherwise, too much engagement in material activities then will cause us to fall down from devotional service. And actually, our Lord Nrsingadeva is warning Prahlad Maharaj against this. And the same warning is also for us. So we have to make some balance program. Yeah. Obviously, if you're a family man, you have to look after your family. If you just sit chanting Hare Krishna all day, what's going to happen to your wife and children? So I have to do something. And Prabhupada himself, when he was in his previous ashram, he was working, doing a business, making money for supporting his wife and children. So there's no harm in that. But at the same time, we should be careful, as Lord Nrsingadeva warned, don't become bewildered by materialistic activities. Enough is enough. Yeah. All right, so now... we've still got more questions. Okay. I was told that the class today can go on a little more, not a lot more, but a little more. So please, go ahead.
In response to your question, the perfect example of a person engaged in political activities is Bhakti-yoga. So he is an example of how to execute one's duty and at the same time become and set an example for all others to be Krishna conscious.
Thank you very much, Gopal Prabhu. Gopal is also the senior disciple of Srila Prabhupada, who has now taken up residence again in Sri Vrindavan Dham. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Yeah. Mataji, you wanted to say something?
Would you mind telling me among the people referring to Bhagavad-Gita or reading the mantras? Anyway, Mandala was one of them.
Yes.
Yes? Can you give another or some other names? Because I want to write to my king and my president.
Oh, you mean
Very necessary.
people in the government or philosophers or others? Prominent people in general.
But you know some name besides Mandela?
Sukarno, the first president of Indonesia. He said one should read Bhagavad-Gita while kneeling. He said while on one's knees, while kneeling, one should read Bhagavad-Gita. He used to quote, sometime he even quoted the whole chapter of Bhagavad-Gita, every verse, in his speech. And he was very fond of this verse, Kamanye vadikaraste mapaleshu kadachana. He used to quote this verse, yeah. Gandhi, of course, every day he was reading Bhagavad-Gita. These are three, in terms of philosophers, there were quite a lot of philosophers who used to read, including Einstein, also Emerson and Thoreau from America. I think if you look in the Bhagavad-Gita, in the beginning, there's some quotes from different people. If you look in the preface of Bhagavad-Gita, there are quotes from different famous people about Bhagavad-Gita. I think you can find it there, Mataji. Yes? So now, with your permission, I will just say a few words about Advaita Acharya. Hare Krishna. So today is the appearance of Sri Advaita Acharya. Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu ki jai. And Advaita Acharya Prabhu appeared along with some other devotees before the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Some of those great devotees who appeared before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Madhavendra Puri. Advaita Acharya happened to be a disciple of Madhavendra Puri. Ishvara Puri, who later became the spiritual master of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And also Sri Jagannath Misra, the father of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Sachi Mata, his mother. So Advaita Acharya was contemporary with these persons. And he he appeared, and he moved to one place in not so far from Mayapur called Shantipur. And Shantipur, you can see the house of Advaita Acharya, you can see his deities also. Shantipur is a very nice place and not so far from Mayapur. And this Shantipur, Advaita Acharya he became the head of the Brahmana community. He was most respected among the Brahmana community in Shantipur. Even now, Shantipur, the Bengali which is spoken in Shantipur, is considered to be the most refined, Sadhu Bhasha they call it. It's what you hear in the street in Calcutta is mostly Chalit Bhasha. It's just like ordinary Bengali, but the way they speak in Shantipur. I also was learning from a teacher from Shantipur, this Bengali, the Sadhu Bhasha, they're very nice. Anyways, the identity of Advaita Acharya is described in chapter 6 of the Adi Leela of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, and you can read that. It's quite detailed and complicated, but Advaita Acharya is actually Mahavishnu, and he appeared. It explains there, too complicated to go into it in detail right now, but there's the efficient cause and the material cause of the material universes. So Advaita Acharya is this material cause, that part of Mahavishnu. And when Lord Krishna comes, there's that verse, Krishna Vanam Tvisa Krishnam Sango Pangastra Arshadam Yagyai Sankirtana Prayer Yajanti Hisu Medhasaha. So it says that, but this is about Lord Chaitanya, this verse. He is Krishna Vanam Tvisa Akrishnam, but he's the different color of than Krishna. Krishna, as we very well you can see on the altar, Krishna, a dark color. Shama Sundara, dark and beautiful Krishna. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in a golden form. This is explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Anta Krishna, Bahir Gauram. Internally he is Krishna, and externally he is Radharani. So Krishna cannot understand his own sweetness without taking the form of a devotee. So he took the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Lord Balaram took the form of Nityananda. So Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. Mahaprabhu is actually Radha and Krishna. And Lord Nityananda Prabhu is Balaram. Yeah? Brojendra Nandana Jay Sachi Sutta Hoilo Se Balaram Hoilo Nitai. So I was just reflecting this morning. Srila Prabhupada established this temple, and many of the things which were done when this temple was designed were very deliberate by Srila Prabhupada. He wanted to show the correct identity of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. That their identity was that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Radha and Krishna, and Lord Nityananda is Balaram. Many years ago, maybe some of you still remember, there was another temple next door here. Don't know if it's still there. And every day, all day and night, they used to chant Nitai Gaur Radhe Shyam Hare Krishna Hare Ram. It's a completely bogus Apasampradaya mantra that Nitai is Radharani And Gaura, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is Shyam, Krishna. This is nice. So Prabhupada wanted to establish, and for this purpose, we have the deities on the altar, Nityananda Prabhu, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Krishna and Balaram. So Balaram is Nitai, you see. And of course Radha Shyama Sundara are also there, which is generally at Vrindavan, most of the temples, they have Radha Krishna accompanied by Lalita Vishaka, who are the Prana Priya Shakis, the more dear to Radha Krishna than their own self. So anyway, Prabhupada did this, and he also started this 24 hours kirtan. Yeah. In order to drown out that bogus chanting of that mantra which next door. That I used to work for a long time. I used to work upstairs in the Gurukul building with Kormarupa Prabhu, my very dear friend. And we were just outside the window all day long. We would be hearing this nonsense chanting. So even sometimes we used to put earplugs. It's so disturbing. Jagannath Puri also, you can see in Haridas Thakur's Samadhi, I'm very sorry to say, they're still chanting that bogus mantra. So Prabhupada he established the temple like this, he established the 24 hours kirtan, which was later on carried on by my dear godbrother Ayendra Prabhu. So all of these things it hasn't happened just somehow by chance. All of these things were very carefully designed by and established by Srila Prabhupada for the purpose of educating the people of the world in the proper parampara system of Krishna consciousness here. So anyways, coming back to Advaita Acharya, he was actually Mahavishnu, and at the same time his purpose was to teach Bhagavad-Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. He was given the title Acharya because he was teaching. Is this verse from Bhagavad-Gita which we just quoted? Yad yad acharati srestas. So achara means sad achara, proper behavior. And prachara means preaching. So these two things should be there. We should act properly and then preach. If we don't act properly, our preaching will be ineffective. Prabhupada was effective because he was an acharya. He was his own life, his own action were perfect, and he was teaching strictly according to the Shastra. And he was always very, very careful. Sometimes devotees would come and say, "Oh, Prabhupada, this," and Prabhupada asked, "Where did you hear that? Where did you hear that?" Devotees would be going around. Prabhupada would say, "The whole of the universe is inside Krishna Balaram Mandir. You don't need to go anywhere." So many people are saying this one, that one. Now I see there's so many professionals speaking Bhagavad Saptaha, with all due respects to them, but I think now as devotees we have to be faithful to our founder Acharya and just hear according to our Guru Paramparas. Anyways, Advaita Acharya was preaching Bhagavad-Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, and it explains in the third chapter of Adi Lila, Advaita Acharya saw, this is maybe one of the most important of his pastimes, he saw that the world is full of materialistic people. They're just doing materialistic activities, spending huge amounts of money for weddings. We see this now also in India also, and in also a different part of the world. People spend a huge amount of money. Yeah, if you ask them for a donation for the temple, they'll maybe give you 5 rupees or 10 rupees something. But for the daughter's marriage, wow, lakhs of rupees are being spent. Other parts of the world also, they hire a huge building, they have a big feast, and like this. You know. So he saw the world is full of people engaged in materialistic activities, and hardly you could hear the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra. This is 500 years ago, Prabhu. Nowadays, okay, but 500 years ago even, you could hardly hear. Even brahmanas and so on, they were not They felt that if you chant the Hare Krishna mantra, the mantra will become contaminated. Just see, this was the philosophy. So they would only chant when there would be eclipse of the sun, or they would go into the Ganges and chant, being submerged in the Ganges, like this. But generally speaking, there was not no, and they were worshipping mostly demigods, especially in Bengal even now, mostly worshipping Kali Ma. Yeah. Anyways, Advaita Acharya felt great sadness and great compassion. So he thought, although actually he was personally capable of rectifying the situation by doing a Sankirtan movement, but he, out of respect to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he felt that if Krishna himself will come, only then can all of these people be delivered. So there's a very nice verse there, which I won't open the book now, but anyway, there's a beautiful verse which says that if someone will worship Krishna with just tulsi leaf and a little water, Krishna becomes so much obliged that he actually sells himself to that devotee. He gives his own self to that devotee, just from the offering of a little bit Ganga Jal and Tulasi Patra. Krishna becomes so much indebted to that devotee. So this is actually the offering. If you worship Shaligram or Giriraj, the offering is this water and Tulasi Patra. Yeah? So Advaita Acharya started intensely worshipping Shaligram with offering of Ganga Jal and Tulasi Patra. He was worshipping and very intensely prayed to Lord Krishna, please, unless you come yourself, there's no hope for all of these people in Kali Yuga. They'll all be going to hell for so many kalpas. You have to come yourself. At the same time, another great devotee who also appeared around the same time was Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur was born in a Muslim family. And from his childhood, he only took milk. That was all he would take. Muslims usually, they eat other things we won't mention. But he was just, from his beginning of his life, he would just be chanting Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. So he was just chanting Hare Krishna. And his prayer was the same prayer as Advaita Acharya. That please, my Lord, you have to yourself come and save these people. Otherwise, no hope for them. So Advaita Acharya was praying to Krishna with Tulasi and Ganga Jal and his heartfelt prayers. And Haridas Thakur in another place was chanting Hare Krishna. 3 lakhs. This is 192 rounds. And we have trouble finishing 16 rounds, yeah. But he was chanting 192 rounds a day. And just Hare Krishna, prayed for the Lord to appear. And because of the prayers of these great devotees, these 2 great devotees, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. So it's because of the mercy of Advaita Acharya, because of his prayers, because of the prayers of Haridas Thakur, the Lord appeared as Mahaprabhu here. This is perhaps one of the most important pastimes of Advaita Acharya. There are many other pastimes described in Chaitanya Charitamrita, which you can read. Advaita Acharya and Nityananda Prabhu had a very kind of special relationship, kind of humorous. They used to joke with each other. And Advaita Acharya was playing the part of the head of the Brahmana community. He was very respected by everyone. On the other hand, Nityananda Prabhu was avadut. He used to, some of his actions were quite unconventional or strange. So there's the stories of them eating prasadam together and throwing prasadam like this. I won't tell it all now, but it's very funny. They had sort of a humorous, very funny relationship between Advaita Acharya and Nityananda Prabhu. Advaita Acharya would say, you have ruined all my Brahminical principles. You are avadut, and what is it like this? And they used to carry on. And yeah, so Advaita Acharya was with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during his pastimes in Mayapur Navadvip Dham. Advaita Acharya's house was in Shantipur, but he also had a house in Mayapur. And you can see Advaita Bhavan is still there. Yeah, so they were sort of neighbors. And when the Sankirtan movement started, after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got initiation from Ishvara Puri, he started the Sankirtan movement in Mayapur Navadvip Dham intensely. Every day there was Sankirtan. Yeah. He instructed his devotees to go and preach, every man at his door, Bolo Krishna, Bhaja Krishna, Koro Krishna, Shiksha, like this. They would be going around, and Advaita Acharya was part of those pastimes. Then later on, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taking sannyas, even now in Bengal, is controversial. How could he give up his mother? In Bengal, nobody gives up their mother. The Bengali Ma, Prabhupada would say, in order to be a devotee, you have to have the heart of a Bengali Ma and the courage of a British soldier. Yeah. So, anyways, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, and he was wanted to go to Vrindavan. And Advaita Acharya had his men give misdirection. Oh, you go this way, you go that way. Finally, he came to the bank of the Ganges. So Advaita Acharya was there with the boat and said, "Welcome to Vrindavan. Here we are. And I bought a boat. We can cross over, please." Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was starting to think, "Hey, how I got to Vrindavan so quickly?" Anyways, he took him across and actually took to his house and he gave prasad. And actually, Sachi Mata came and had a darshan of her son, and he said, "Please forgive me, Ma. I have to go off and become sannyasi and preach for the benefit of everybody." And she said, "Please, you stay in Jagannath Puri. Jagannath Puri and Bengal is not so far. It's far, but not very far. So I can hear news of you." And the devotees used to go every year. They would go travel from Mayapur to Jagannath Puri and stay a few months and associate with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I think also including Advaita Acharya. So, anyways, if you can read the end of chapter 3 in Adi Leela, and the whole of chapter 6 is about the glories of Advaita Acharya. So today is his appearance day. Also, there's in that song, which we quite often sing, "Haha Prabhu Sita Padi Advaita Goshai Tava Kripa Bole Pai Chaitanya Nitai." It's Advaita Acharya, Haha Prabhu Sita Pati. His wife's name is Sita. Tava Kripa Bole Pai Chaitanya Nitai. By your mercy, we can get the mercy of Gaur Nitai. So we need the mercy of Gaur Nitai. We can get that through Advaita Acharya. Yeah. Just maybe one or two more things which I was remembering this morning. Advaita Acharya had several children, several sons, and some of them followed his instructions, and some of them didn't follow his instructions. So it mentions those who did not follow the instructions of Advaita Acharya, they became what is known as asara. Asara means useless. Similarly, if we follow the instructions of Srila Prabhupada and our acharyas, then we can be effective. We can do something through spreading Krishna consciousness. But if we do not follow the instruction of Srila Prabhupada, even though we may know so many slokas and this and that, we will also become asara or useless. But this actually is a warning. be very careful. Prabhupada used to tell us, do not change anything. Just what I have given you, just you do that. Don't make any changes. I remember, because I was looking at this morning, I was looking at the plaque of Aindra Prabhu. Once I had a big argument with Aindra. And I'll tell you this because I'm hearing it again. The mantra for worshipping Tulsi Devi, Vrindayai Tulasi Devyai, Priyayai Keshavasyacha, Vishnu Bhakti Pradi Devi Satyavajay Namo Namaha. I led the Tulsi Aarti one morning here, and at the end of the Tulsi Aarti, Aindra came up to me. He was very angry, and he's saying, "Why are you saying Vishnu Bhakti? You should say Krishna Bhakti." I said, "Prabhu, please forgive me, but in Srila Prabhupada's letters, Prabhupada said, he wrote, I am now giving you the mantra for worshipping Tulsi Devi. Vrindayai Tulasi Devyai, Priyayai Keshavasyacha, Vishnu Bhakti Pradi Devi Satyavajay Namo Namaha. This is the mantra, it's standard." So I said, "Please forgive me, Prabhu." And also, there's another book which is called Sri Stavakalpa Madha, published by the Gaudiya Math, which contains all of our Gaudiya Vaishnava prayers, like Mangala Charana and all of the mantras. In there, it clearly says, Vishnu Bhakti Pradi Devi Satyavajay Namo Namaha. So, Aindra Prabhu, of course, an ardent devotee of Krishna, he went around every Gaudiya Math in Vrindavan. He left early in the morning, he came back late. He went around every Gaudiya Math in Vrindavan, asked them, what mantra do you chant? And they all said, Vishnu Bhakti Prati Devi. So finally, I think it was already evening, and he came back and said to me, "Prabhu, you were right." So I'm requesting the leaders of this temple, if someone starts chanting Krishna Bhakti Prati Devi, please caution them. Vedic mantras should not be changed. You may, we're of course devotees of Krishna. Vishnu is an expansion of Krishna. We only worship Gaunitai, Krishna Balaram, Radha Shama Sundar, Lalita, Vishaka. These are our worshipful deities. But please don't change the mantras. It's not Prabhupada. And another story I should also tell you, the same kind of thing. You know the tune we sing, Mangalati, the morning tune? Sansara dava nalalida loka Chanaya karunya gunaganatvam, and so on. That's known as the morning tune. And that tune is standard in ISKCON. It's standard even in the Gaudiya Math. And a couple of weeks ago I heard that tune has been around since the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's standard for that time of the morning, for that. And this, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. That was introduced later on by two devotees who later left ISKCON and after they got their green cards in the United States. That's something else. And when Prabhupada was, the Mangalati was going on here in Krishna Balaram Mandir, and somebody started singing another tune. How many layers of walls are there between here and Prabhupada's room? If you're in Prabhupada's room, can you hear the kirtan in the temple? With difficulty, yeah? Prabhupada heard, and he told his servant, you go and tell him to sing the morning tune. Don't sing any other tunes. This happened in Vrindavan. It happened also in Melbourne. I witnessed that. There's so many walls. Prabhupada was in the next building on the second floor. Somebody started singing another tune. And Prabhupada told his servant, go down and tell them, don't sing another tune. Just sing the morning tune. So once again, I humbly request the managers of this temple that please, remind devotees. Some of these are just small things, very small things. But if you start changing the small things, then you will start changing big things. And then when you do that, then you become, as Advaita Acharya has mentioned, you become asara, you become useless. Okay, so today is the appearance of Sri Advaita Acharya, and we pray for his blessings on this day. And because of his appearance, they'll fasting for half a day, and then there'll be prasad. I heard 1 o'clock. So on this day, it's a special day in our Vaishnav calendar. When we have this special day, it's a special chance to get special mercy. Yeah? So try to do more devotional activities, more chanting, less talking nonsense, and maybe read about it. If you get a chance, you can read Chaitanya Charitamrita about Advaita Acharya. And let us pray that we'll get his mercy, so that we can have the mercy of Gaura Nitai. Hare Krishna. So anyone would like to say a question or add anything about Advaita Acharya? Please, Prabhu, go ahead. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, a small clarification I want is that from Prabhupada's purpose, I understand that we should simply chant the Panchatattva mantra and the Hare Krishna mantra.
Yeah.
But we also see devotees chanting Nitai Gauranga, Gaur Hari, Nitai Gauranga, Gaur Hari. So, is it proper to do that? And should we do that? Because if we do it in Vrindavan, that will set standards for all the temples all over the world, because people will come here and see us doing that. So, what should be done?
Well, thank you, Prabhu, for making this observation. This is what happens. Somebody in Mayapur started singing Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, and then it went all over the world. Somebody in Mayapur started saying E Nivedena Dara in the Tulsi prayer. Somehow or other, that word does not come in the Bengali dictionary or the Hindi dictionary or the Sanskrit dictionary. The correct word is Nivedana. So especially in Vrindavan, we have to be very careful. And Prabhupada wanted us to chant, of course we chant Prabhupada's Pranam mantra, and then we chant the Panchatattva Maha mantra, and then we chant the Hare Krishna Maha mantra. That's the standard for our kirtans. And at the end we can chant of course, Jai Gaura Nitai, Jai Krishna Balaram, Jai Radheshama Sundar, whichever your worshipful deities. That's the standard for our kirtan. Even, it's a little sensitive in Vrindavan, everyone's Radhe, Radhe. Anyways. Well, as long as you don't start chanting that mantra which I mentioned before, that Nitai Gaur Radhe Shyam Hare Krishna Radha, that is definitely wrong. Yeah, definitely. Should never, please forgive me, I've probably committed an offense by even mentioning that mantra in here, but Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, it's sort of all right, but the main thing should be Prabhupada Pranam mantra, Panchatattva Maha mantra, and Hare Krishna mantra. This should be the main focus of the kirtan. But thank you for bringing up that point, Prabhu. But we shouldn't make up mantras. Sometimes we have devotees, siapa di sini yang hadir dari Bali, angkat tangan. Siapa dari Bali? Dia ada. Oh yeah, ada. Oh, well, my wife is here, she's from Jakarta. But there's a group of devotees here from Bali, about 20 of them, and sometimes they started making up mantras. And we had to correct them, don't do this. This is not standard, because if you make up a mantra, there's a strong possibility it may become what is known as rasa basa. Means the rasas are clashed. So that is why we do the standard ones, which are in our Vaishnava songbook. This we will sing. Yeah. But thank you very much, Prabhu, for bringing up that point. Yeah. Hare Krishna. Oh, now I've got that. Okay, Prabhu, please.
So, Prabhupada Pranam mantra. Like Prabhupada Pranam mantra, usually say Namaste Saraswati Deve Guru Vajrate. Actual word is Saraswati or Saraswati? Saraswati Deve.
Yeah.
This word is Saraswati Deve and word is Saraswati Deve.
No, it's Saraswati Deve.
Saraswat or Saraswat?
Well, here we get into the Sanskrit, Hindi, Bengali. There's, In Sanskrit, the last syllable is pronounced, and in Hindi and Bengali it may not be. But this is a Sanskrit mantra, so we should follow the Sanskrit. Namaste Saraswate Deve. As far as I know, that's how it's written in the book. Well, sometimes our Hindi and Bengali speaking devotees, they drop the last Saraswat Devi. This is according to my understanding. Prabhu, Namaste Saraswate Devi.
Yes, now, I was present when that mantra was given to us.
Yeah.
Before we only had the first
Yeah.
Prabhupada.
Yeah.
And there was, even today you hear some devotees are saying Devam.
Yeah.
And then someone asked Prabhupada, which is the correct way? And I heard Devi.
Devi. Yeah.
So, Namaste Saraswati Devi Bhagavad
Yeah.
So when you hear it directly, that's what you should do.
Yeah. So Prabhupada, he is a direct witness heard from Srila Prabhupada. I cannot say anything more on this. It's Praman, yeah? Thank you, Prabhu. Another, Prabhu? Yeah. Huh?
Requesting if we can speak some pastime of, especially that pastime of.
Where Andreshari acted as in person is to get Mahaprabhu's mercy. So if you can speak a little bit on that pastime.
Well, actually, there was one pastime I was just remembering when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took sannyas, and Sachi Mata, naturally, her heart was broken. That he left. You can just imagine. It's like when Krishna left Vrindavan. Nanda Yasoda, they stopped eating, they stopped breathing. They were just lying around. They no enthusiasm anymore to live even. Anyways, Sachi Mata had an idea that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became a sannyasi because Advaita Acharya had been preaching to him. And so she was harboring some negative feelings towards Advaita Acharya. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to be aware of this. And once, when the kirtan was going on, Advaita Acharya was dancing in the kirtan. We cannot imagine the kirtan that they were having, especially in Srivas Angan. They used to have this kirtan. This was actually the equivalent of Rasa Leela in Krishna's pastimes. It's the most... We cannot imagine those kirtans they were having. The Pancha Tattva were all there, they were dancing, and so many wonderful devotees. I think Hari Das also was there. Anyways, at one point Advaita Acharya fell down in ecstasy. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked his mother, you touch the... Sorry, it wasn't Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who took sannyas that time, it was his brother, Vishwarup. Yeah? So she was thinking Vishwarup took sannyas because of Advaita Acharya's preaching. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked her, you please touch Advaita Acharya's feet, get forgiveness of your offenses. Otherwise, if you have offended Advaita Acharya, then you cannot achieve love of Godhead. Similarly, ourselves also, we're very careful, especially in the Dham, of offending Vaishnavas. Otherwise it blocked our spiritual advancement, especially those of us, including myself, who are elderly. Maybe soon we will have to leave our body. So before leaving our body, we'll try to, if we remember, or even if we don't remember, that we have offended any Vaishnavas, even mentally beg forgiveness from them. Otherwise, blocked. If it can be like that in the case of Sachi Mata, what to speak of us? Yeah. This is one pastime The one about his eating with Nityananda Prabhu, that's very funny. It's in there. We don't have time to open it up now. Yeah. Any more questions, comments regarding Advaita Acharya? Yes, Prabhu. Yeah. I can't hear clearly. Avaduta. Avaduta is someone who doesn't follow the norms of society. Yeah? Sometimes, like Nityananda Prabhu in his ecstasy of love of God, sometimes he neglected to follow the rules and regulations. Yeah. Anyways, for the purpose of preaching, we should follow the rules and regulations. Don't start doing weird stuff. Yeah. Otherwise, people will think the Hare Krishnas are like this. And I know. I mean, for a while, I was acting vice president of this temple, and in replacing Gaura, who's I understand now the president. He went back to the West. It was summer. He said, "You be the vice president till I come back." So I was here. But sometimes people would come in the temple dressed as Krishna, and they would be dancing like this and falling in ecstasy like this, and people would come. It would cause a big disturbance. So we had to ask the security personnel to kindly escort these people out from the temple. This is not ours, this is Appa Sampradaya here. Nityananda Prabhu is one thing. He is Lord Balaram, so he can do this, but not ordinary people. We should follow the rules of sadhana bhakti. To dress nicely, keep your body clean, shave your head and face, and keep your clothes and put the tilak nicely. Otherwise, people will look at you and think, "Look, what is this Hare Krishna movement? You look like some what they call darvesh, like some tantric or something." Yeah. So this is the meaning of avadut. We should not. This is not for us. You see, Prabhupada always used to dress very nicely, nice clothes, so that respectable people will respect our movement, our Krishna conscious movement. Okay, anyways, I was told I could go over time. I have gone over time, but I think now it's time to end the class. Thank you, and please forgive me if I've committed any offenses while I've been here in Vrindavan Dham. And I ask your blessing. Now I have to go back and Indonesia and preach, the biggest Muslim country in the world. Yeah, we have some Muslim devotees in Indonesia. My wife is also from Muslim family. Yeah, she's a devotee of Krishna. Yeah, so it's our very great one. I have to say this before I finish. Prabhupada said that Vrindavan is my home, Mayapur is my place of worship, and Mumbai is my office. So actually, I think this applies to all of us, even those of us, all ISKCON devotees in the world. Vrindavan is our home, and we feel very, very fortunate to come here, to associate with all of you. And you are all Brijbasis who are living here in the Dham, whether you're born here or not, but by living here you become the Brijbasi. I touch your feet. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Sri Advaita Acharya Prabhu ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol.